Hi, I'm Simon Porter, and today I'm going to give you a short video about differentiation. What is differentiation? I think it's important as a school you think about a definition or what it means to you. My best definition is a very good friend of mine, Gavin Rayner, who said it's a way to help all children to learn. And I think that's really what it is. It's important to remember that all classes are mixed attainment classes. Even if you're in a school that sets, I hope you're not, but even if you're in a school that sets, there's a wide range of attainment in every class, especially in a small international school like ourselves. And of course, children are at different levels for many different reasons, and often that is nothing to do with their basic intelligence or potential. When I was learning to teach, differentiation we sort of classified in three different ways. It was by support, by task, or by outcome. That was a few years ago now, but I still think about that in my mind when I'm thinking about differentiation. And for me, it's a useful way to think of ways we can differentiate in class. Differentiation by support. My first head of department, head of physics, Martin Long, who's now a principal in the UK, said it's just getting in amongst the buggers, he said, and helping them. Okay, so it's that teaching we do day to day when we're sat next to a student, we're kneeling next to a student and helping them with their work. I know when it's happening in my school because I don't see teachers either stood at the front or sat behind a desk. Yeah, when they're in amongst the students and they're talking to them, I know that differentiation is happening all the time. Sometimes you have to plan for this to happen. So myself, sometimes I'll actually plan for the students to do quite a boring worksheet that they can do independently. So then I can go around the class helping individuals with their work, sitting down next to them, talking about their work, while the rest of the class get on with a task that they can do themselves. You can mark books while you're doing this. There's nothing more effective than sitting next to a child and marking their book with them. Okay, they actually listen to what you're saying. So even if it's just a minute for you to talk to them as you're marking their book, and of course it means less marking when you get home as well. Those of you who've done the China bilingual course will know that there's a jigsaw activity. It's a very good way of using students with different strengths to look at a particular activity. I often, particularly when I'm teaching IB physics, will annotate exams for some students. It's a big step from IGCSE to IB physics, and so in year 12 or grade 11 I will often just add little hints in the exams, either for the whole class or for specific students. So you can actually provide differentiation by support during tests and exams as well. Writing stations, primary teachers are very good at this, secondary teachers like myself less good at this, but providing information in the class that students can go and consult themselves when they need that little bit of extra support for their work. Differentiated by outcome is expecting or allowing different outcomes for a task. I think open-ended tasks are very good for this. I've used the example on the slide of a geography poster about a country. Of course, some students will expect them to find the flag of the country and what the capital is and how many people live there. Some students will be saying, well, actually, no, tell me a little bit about how colonialism affected the development of India, or tell me a bit about India's relationships with China or whatever. So you've got a similar task to do a poster about India, but you're expecting different outcomes from different students. This is quite hard to do. In physics, I would tend to, if we're doing a presentation about energy sources, maybe give nuclear power and tidal energy to some of the stronger groups, and maybe wind power to maybe some of the weaker groups. So it's quite difficult to do. Be brave. Okay, so if you've got a student in your class who's way ahead of the others in the class, don't make them do the easy work and then give them the difficult stuff. Give them the difficult stuff at the beginning. So I use this slide because I remember I taught a boy at the British School of Warsaw in Poland, Michael, who walked into my year 10 class and obviously knew IGCSE physics. Not only was he a very clever boy, but he knew it. He read physics and stuff like that. So at the beginning of every class, I used to give him the IB textbook. He used to sit in the back of the class and do IB physics, where the rest of the class did IGCSE. Be brave enough to do that. I don't like differentiated worksheets, but you can do it within the same worksheet. So many of my physics worksheets will have a whole graduation of questions, from easy ones to very difficult ones. And some students can say, you start at question 4. So there's none of this stigma of giving, you do the easy worksheet, you do the difficult ones. You can have the full range on one worksheet and encourage some students to maybe start halfway through. Here's an example of one of our teachers here in Guangzhou, Sam, who sets differentiated homework depending on the students in the class. This is Raz. Some of you might know Raz Akhtar because I think he's now in China, but when I was Director of Learning at Compass International School in Doha, I used to go and see Raz teach quite a lot. He was a primary teacher, very good at doing differentiation by task off the cuff. So, you know, when students in maths, if you could obviously see they were finding it too easy, you say, put a negative there instead of a positive, what happens? Put a 0 at the end of each one of those questions, what do you think happens? I'm sure he planned it, but it seemed very spontaneous to me that he was using the basic worksheet, but differentiating it for different students by setting them different tasks. Don't forget by language, you know, there are other ways we can think about differentiation. So the way you use language, particularly for those native speakers, if you're speaking to a non-native speaker, we can simplify our language, we can make our language more difficult depending on who we're talking to. Please make sure you use images. So when I'm talking about heat travelling by conduction, if I've got that diagram there for students can see, even students whose English are weak can see, I can see what he's talking about now. I can start listening for those important words. I think, yeah, he's talking about heat travelling through a metal. I heard that word conduction, I heard metal, yeah, I need to remember those words. So the picture really helps them. Seating, so think about how you seat your students. Sometimes you'll deliberately sit students who are very strong together so you can give them some more difficult things to do. Sometimes you're going to seat the weaker students together so you can give them more help. Sometimes, of course, you're going to mix them together like those jigsaw activities so some of the stronger students can help the weaker students. Have an expert corner, so you know, get some of your better students to become experts at a particular subject. They can sit in a corner so other students can go and ask them for help. Give a choice. Students will very rarely choose the easier option. You know, they like to challenge themselves, but so by giving them a choice of activities, they're sort of differentiating themselves. I'm going to look down at my slide here now. I used to have this, when I've done this presentation a few times before, I used to have this quote up. I now disagree with the quote, but I've kept it up there. David Didow said, all that is required of differentiation is that teachers are flexible and skilled enough to be able to veer off-piste, to collect up confused students as and when required. I don't like this paragraph anymore because it implies that differentiation is only about the weaker students. And of course, we're talking about the stronger students as well. We should make sure we're differentiating for them. One final thing, when I was full-time teaching, unfortunately I'm a principal now, so I spend most of the time in my office. I get in as many lessons as I can, but I used to have this stuck to my desk. How is this helping them learn? So very occasionally I would look down, I would see that on my desk, and it would remind me, am I doing the best activity for these students? And I recommend that you stick this on your desk and all the people in your departments. So the focus isn't always on, am I doing the best thing in my lessons for all the students in the lesson? Okay, I hope that helped.